Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of Reading Layamon Brut. I haven't been able to record for a little while. My attempts to fit recording into my teaching and marking schedule this semester were not entirely successful, but I am back now for the next few weeks at least, so we should get a few more videos in. Before we get started today though, I've had an article pass peer review. It's been published in the journal Filament, which is an online journal, and I'll put a link below in the video description. So the article is on Layamon, and it's on the Arthurian section of Layamon Brut, which we won't be getting to for a little while in this video series, possibly ever, because we have about 8,000 lines until Arthur is born. So here's the article. It's on the elves, which is one of Layamon's unique contributions to the Arthurian story. He has elves visit the child Arthur at his birth and confer upon him the kingly virtues. But enough of that. What we're really here for is to resume reading the text. So we pick up today at line 891. Brutus and the Trojans have just left France, where they got into all kinds of altercations and trouble and basically caused all sorts of mayhem that they didn't really need to cause, but you know, when you're a medieval would-be king and you're looking for a new homeland, you want to crack a few skulls, so he did a bit of that. Can't say that I approve of your conduct there, Brutus, but, well, there you have it. So finally today we have some eventful things going on, so let's begin. Her ferden out of havene, the hellethus weren blithe, wind stod on wheelen, plochede the wilde vis, that water was sweete god, goomen weren blithe, liefden the lerden that her on londe kommen, at Dartmouth I Tottenes, well was Brutus this. The shippen beaten on that sond, and all that folk aired on land. There havde Brutus the jeve, that Diana him beheichte. I logice, dan Eitlande, der her weren at stonden. Muchel was the murthe, there that folk makode, and her God thunkeden, mit few fulle woorden, that her wildages, walden weren. So they went out from the harbour, the haven. The warriors were happy, were blithe. The wind stood in their will, so it was in their favour, it's what they wanted. The wild fish played. That water was very good. The men were happy. The people went until or so that they came on land at Dartmouth in Totnes. Well was Brutus about this, or because of this. The ships, this is the word bit, so they bit into the sand, they shored, they docked, I suppose you'd say would be the word. I'm not sure about the shipping terminology today. And all that people went onto the land. Then Brutus had the gift which Diana promised him in Logice, or Logitia, something like that, the island where they had remained, or stayed for a little while. Great was the joy which that people made, or, yeah, I suppose we could just keep this word and say mirth, because you make mirth still, so great was the mirth that the people made, and they thanked God with dutiful or virtuous words. They thanked God that they had controlled, or had obtained, in this sense I think is probably the better way of reading it, had obtained their willing days, the days of their will, so the days they wanted, basically what they had desired in their will, those days they were now obtained. Her funden I on land 20 tandes stronger. Her nomen ne herdi never tellen, a leerde neer a spelle. Boten des annes name, da here allre lavert was. Geomagoge hatten, that was the heichste, goddess Withersaka, the Ursa hina lovede. Brutus and his god folk undergeten deras fiendes, and hera stalene flon fusten to den fienden. Da flan her weren lathe, and her liefden to den munten, I den wilderne an hudlesse wuneden. They, the Trojans, found in the land 20 strong giants. In here we have something a bit interesting. So this E on the end here, the I, is the personal pronoun, or appears to be the personal pronoun in any case, which is attached to the verb heard. So I never heard tell their names, never heard them told, either in songs, so Laird from Old English Lairth, cognate with the German Lied, so never heard them told in songs nor in stories, except for the name of this one that was Lord of all of them. He was called Gog Magog, Geomagog here, but Gog Magog in Geoffrey of Monmouth. That was the highest, or the leader, the ruler of them. God's enemy. The devil loved him. Brutus and his good people discovered, this is understood or something like that, something to that effect. They comprehended, so they recognized, found these enemies, and hastened their steel arrows to the enemies. The arrows were hateful to them, to the giants, and they, the giants, went to the mountains, and in the wilderness dwelt in a hiding place. Hurdles is the Old English word. You can see there's been some metathesis here, and so the word has become hudlesse in Lorman's Middle English. Hite lomp on anna dag, that Brutus and his dochter makeden Hallinesse, mit urschipen hegen, mit mete and mit drinten, and mit murie glea dreme, mit silver and mit gold, de elche bar on honde, mit horsen and mit scruten, blisse was on hirde. Wes al that folk swa blieve, swa her neren naver on lieve. There komen there 20 tern of than munten, tendes longe, muchele and stronge. Her tochen all together, trean swithem muchele. Hier lepen to Brutus folk, there her hurtes doten. It befell, or came about on a day, that Brutus and his host made a festival of some sort of holy day, with high worship, with meat and with drink, and with merry sounds of music sound, with silver and with gold, which each bore in hand, with horses and with garments, fine clothes, something like that. There was joy. Joy was amongst the household, amongst Brutus's company or his court. All that people, that nation, was as happy as they had never been, as they were never before in their lives, or in life. Now, I've just translated this word folk as nation, bearing in mind, as I've said before in these videos, that talking about the idea of a nation in the Middle Ages, before the modern world, is a very problematic thing to do, but in the interest of convenience, I might slip into using the word nation from time to time, just because we need a word. Then there came 20 long or large, tall giants, great and strong, coming from the mountains. They came, or they brought something, they brought all together very great trees. So these are their weapons, probably branches of trees. They leapt to or towards Brutus's people. There they caused injuries. In ara luttla stunde her sluen 500, mit stokken en mit stanen stalfecht her makeden, and de trojanische men mit strengthe wenden akain, her letten gliden her flan, and thy tandes fluchen, and her letten herm toe gares lieden, tha her best wende to flerne, thou weren her fire, tha nichtentene her sluen, Geomagog her nomen, an he quicquasi brocht beforen Brutone. Brutus hine lette weten, well mit dan beste, for to letten fondien of his mine stronger, to wrestlene beforen Brutus, Geomagog, and Corineus. In a little while they, the giants, slew 500 of the Trojans. With sticks and with stones they made an unyielding fight. So they held their ground, and the Trojan men went back with strength, so they also put up a fight. They caused to fly their arrows, and the giants fled, and they, the Trojans, caused the spears to go to them, the giants. So they're throwing the spears into the giants as they're fleeing. Then they thought it best to flee. Then they were doomed. Then they, the Trojans, slew 19 of the giants. They took Gog-Magog, and he was brought alive before Brutus. Brutus caused him to be guarded, or had him guarded, and kept well with or by the best of his men, in order to cause to be tested. So he wants to basically see how strong Gog is. So yeah, in order to test him of his strong might. For Gog-Magog and Corineus to wrestle before Brutus. Brutus hit demde upon Arduna, upon thara sa cleve, that folk kom to sumne. Forth kom Corineus, and fuste hina solvne, and the ertend al swa that alle hit behelden. There was money wepmon, there was money wiefmon, there was muchel folk, at their wrestlinge, her jerkden her armes, and jarveden hemselven, breast with breast, banes der krakeden, her schuten her schunken, the schalkes weren stronger, her hurten her havden, halides behelden. Brutus judged it upon a down, so upon a grassy sort of field kind of place, upon the sea cliff, that the people would come together. So that's what Brutus judged or commanded. Forth came Corineus, and hastened himself, and the giant as well, so that all beheld it. There were many men, there were many women, there were a great number of people at the wrestling. They, so this is Corineus and Gog-Magog, the wrestlers, they readied their arms and prepared themselves, breast against breast, so that's the older meaning of with here, which means against, not our modern English sense of with. Bones cracked there. They shot or thrust their legs. The warriors, the men, were strong. They hurt their heads. The warriors saw it. Oft her luten dun, also her wulden liggen. Oft her upplupan, also her flean wulden. Lathliche latches her leiteden mit echen. Al was her gristbattinge, al swa wilde bares eche. Hwiel her huren blake and ladliche burste, hwiel her huren rade, an hechliche winden. Here either will nade, other to walden, mit wicheleden, mit wrenchen, mit wunderliche strengthen. Often they lighted her down, so they fell down, as though they would lie. Often they leapt up, as though they would fly. They shone with eyes, so they made with their eyes hateful expressions. All was their this fantastic word here, gristbattinge, is teeth grinding. All the noise was the grinding of their teeth. All was as the fury or the rage of the wild boar. When we have wheel like this, it just sort of means at times, something to that effect. So sometimes, at some moments, they were... this word black doesn't mean black in the modern English sense. It can, but it is a bit of a false friend. It just sort of means without colour. So sometimes they were pale. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this. And hatefully burst, horribly burst. Frederick Madden refers to the Otho manuscript, which has something slightly different. So in his translation, he says something to the effect that their hue was swollen. I'm not entirely sure that makes a whole lot of sense, but I think maybe burst here means that they're straining or something, and it has something to do with the effort and the exertion that they're currently engaged in. At times they were red, so the blood's rushing into their faces, so they're red with exertion, and incredibly going highly, so straining highly, I think is perhaps the best way to read this. Each of them wished to control the other with devices and with tricks and with incredible strength. Geo Magog hine bethuchte, and thudde Corineum, frommaard his breeste, and bride efton gain, brak him bydd on rwtje, fyr vis ribben, ufele he hine marde, ach na wicht he ne hit mende, full little there was one, that Corinius nas overcome, notheless he hine bethuchte, what he don machte, nom him herte toe, and streechte his armes, and bride Geo Magog, that him the rud forberst. I graf hine bydd on gordle, and him grimliche hev. Gog Magog bethought himself, so thought about what he could do, and thudded, struck or forced through Corinius from his breast. So he's sort of pushing him back with his chest, I think, and drew him... Yeah, so he's pushing forward against Corinius with his chest and drew him back again with his arms and broke him by the back 4 of his ribs. So he's crushing Corinius in this grip so fiercely that it's broken 4 of Corinius's ribs. He, the giant, Gog Magog, injured him, Corinius, evilly, but he, Corinius, thought or cared not a bit about it. So Corinius is barely noticing the fact that 4 of his ribs have just been broken by a giant. Full little, or very little, was won there by the giant, that is, so he didn't achieve much by doing this injury to Corinius, It was so little that Corineus was not overcome. Nevertheless, he, Corineus, bethought himself, so he thought what he might do to the giant. He took him, the giant, to his heart, so he's pulling him in as well in this sort of, hug, wrestle move kind of thing. And something like stretched his arms. I think this must be, or it could be something more like straightened his arms. He must have tightened his arms and dragged or pulled Gog Magog so that the back to him, so the giant's back, so Gog Magog's back burst apart, or it just burst into, it was ruined by this. He, Corineus, gripped him, Gog Magog, by the girdle, and grimly, horribly heaved him, so lifted him up by the belt. Westa clúd a svíða heich, der her a cleave a fuchten, Corineus hine falde, and hine fuste mid meine, a dunoart the clúde, that his baan to kluven, that all the fernd to barste, ar he to full de komme, and thus the heich skade ferde to helle. Nu and avermar haveth that cliff there, nom on altje leerde, that was Gog Magog's lupe, and mid swiltje rade, thus Eotentis weren deerde. The cliff, or the rock, was very high. This is the word that gives us the word cloud. Before it ever meant a cloud in the sky, it meant a rock formation that I suppose clouds sort of look like. So it's a rough cliff. So the cliff was very high, where they fought on the cliff. Corineus felled him, made him fall, and hastened, or in this case threw him with his might down the cliff, so that his, the giant Gog Magog's bones clove apart, they just split apart, so that all the enemy burst apart, or burst open, his body's just ripping itself apart, splitting open, before he came to the earth. And thus the high enemy, the great enemy, went to hell. Now and evermore, that cliff there has this name in each, or has the name in every tribe, in every people, no matter who lives there, it has the name that it was Gog Magog's Leap. And with such counsel, or in this way, just as it's been told, these giants were dead. And we will leave it there and pick up at line 967 next time. As ever, thank you very much for listening. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can do that either in the comment section on this video or at the Facebook page that I've made for the video series, and you'll find a link to that in the video description. I will try and have these videos out on a more regular basis, but we'll see how that goes. All the best, and I'll see you next time.